Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be going over the second part, the no calculator part of our study guide for my pre-calculus class. There are a few problems on here and you can go through it and hopefully understand the solutions. So the first one here is a graph of f of x, and all we really want to do is use some translation rules, and we've got letter A here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to remember the rules for translations and transformations. So this bottom one right here, whenever the function is whenever it's inside the parentheses, you're going to go left or right depending on this number of units and depending on if it's a plus or a minus. If it's a minus, you're going to go to the right. If it's a plus, you're going to go to the left. It's kind of like the opposite. When it's outside the parentheses and you're adding or subtracting, you're going to go up or down. So you're going to shift this using the y coordinates. And when we're multiplying times a function outside of a parentheses, we're making a vertical stretch. So what we're going to do in this type of problem is we're going to multiply the y values by this number, but leave the x values the same. Later on, when we look at the next example, we have a number multiplied by the inside. When we multiply the inside, we're going to multiply the x values and leave the y values the same, but we're going to multiply the x values by the reciprocal of what's inside. So in this case, we have -2. We're going to multiply them by -1/2. So it's actually going to shrink it in this way a little bit. So let's take a look at the first one here. And let's put my here. Let's go ahead and sketch this graph. So we know that we're going to move everything over 1 to the right. So all of these points here, and I'll just kind of put these points on here so I can get an idea of where they're going to be. So I'm going to move over to the right 1 unit. So I'm going to move this one over here, and then I'm going to move this one over 1 unit here. This one's going to go 1 unit here, and this one's going to go 1 more unit here. So we'll just move everything over 1 unit, okay? So then I got my next graph here. Curve it. This is going to be moved over 1 unit. It's not exact, it's kind of like in the middle there. Okay, so then we got this graph. So this graph here is f of x plus 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to now multiply the y values by 2. So when we multiply the y values by 2, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we're going to be up at 8. So five, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so right here we're going to go all the way up to 8. Now this is going to stay here at 0 because 0 times 2 is still going to be 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go down 8. Okay, the zeros stay there. This is at 2, so we're going to multiply by 2, which is going to get us to 4. 2, 3, 4. And then this is at -2, so it's going to get us to -4. This stays at 0. This is at, so this should be at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. It's going to stay at 0, so now we got this new graph like this. And notice that it's stretched it like this, right? It stretched it way out. So now that's why we say that this is going to be a vertical stretch. Now we're going to subtract 3, and that's going to move it down 3 units. So we're going to go move everything down 3 units. So 1, 2, 3, down 3 units, 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 3 units, 3 units, 3 units, 3 units, boom, boom, boom. I gotta go all the way up there. Curve this guy here, up that way. Okay, so that would be our graph of y equals 2 times f of x plus 1 minus 3. Okay, so let's go and do the next one. Okay, I'm gonna erase all this stuff here so I can get the next one here. Okay, let's see what I have here. Negative 3 f of x, negative 3f and negative 2x plus 1. Okay, so we've got y equals, oh, I'm not going to have enough room to do that. Y equals negative 3 f of negative 2x plus 1. Okay, so we know that this right here is going to be a, we're going to actually flip this. The negative on the outside flips it up and down, and then the negative inside flips it around the y-axis. So we're going to have like a double flip here. We're going to be flipping around the y-axis and then flipping around the x-axis. So let's go ahead and, but if you just multiply them, multiply the numbers, it'll take care of the flip. So let's do the first one, which would be the inside. We always go inside out, okay? Always inside out. So we're going to multiply the x values by negative 1/2. So we're shrinking this thing this way. So this value is 2. We're going to shrink it, so it's going to be right here. It's going to stay the same. This is negative 2. It's going to move here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 over 2 is 5/2, which is 2.5 here. And then 6 is going to be moved to 3, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 7. So 7/2 is 3.5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be moved to 3. And 7, 8, 9. 9/2 is 4.5. Right there. All right, so this is our I missed this one here. Okay. So got something like that. What I didn't do is I didn't multiply by the negative. I only did 1/2. So why don't we do that now? Since we're multiplying by the negative, it's going to move, it's going to flip everything this way. So this is going to stay the same. This is going to go over here. So basically you just want to turn this around. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then And then 1, 2. Oops. Okay, something like that. So we flipped it around this way. Okay, now we're going to multiply by negative 3 the y values. So we're going to take the y values and multiply by negative 3. And that's going to take, so we're right here on the pink one, right? No, the red one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of 4, we're going to be at negative 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So this right here is going to be down here. 0, 1, 2, 3. So now we're at 9. 9 up there. This was at 2, so now we're at 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Okay, so now this is down here. This is up here. This stays at 0. 3 is positive 6. Okay, and this is 0. So this looks kind of like, oops, I did not want to do that. Sorry guys. Alright, let's go ahead and do that again here. So this is going to be kind of like, let's see, like this, all the way down. I probably should have curved this one right here. Okay, so this one's kind of the curved one here. I probably want to mark you off in there because it's kind of hard to draw when you're this long here. Okay. All right, and then the last thing you're going to do is move everything up 1 unit. Okay. So let's go ahead and move everything up 1 unit. And what I'd like to do, what I would love to do, is just take everything and move it up like if I was just dragging and dropping. Okay. So this is what we got here. The blue one is our final answer. Remember that this number in front of the f of x flips it up, flips it over the negative right here, flips it around the x-axis, and then the number in the inside of the parentheses flips it over the y-axis. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. I know, that was kind of long here. We'll see what we can do getting these other ones here. Try to get them into one video. One of the things I am going to tell you is I'm not going to test you on this problem here. For my class, if you would like to know how to do this problem, I'm just going to say real quick what you need to do is factor, find the x-intercepts using the top, factor the bottom to find the vertical asymptotes, and once you find the vertical asymptotes, you know your y, your horizontal asymptote here is going to be y equals 2, and that's because of the square and the square. And so you make your vertical asymptotes, you make your horizontal asymptotes, and you pick a few numbers in there, and then you can draw it. But we're not going to do a problem like this on my final anyway. Okay, and I'm not going to go over it just because of lack of time. Okay, we're running out of time on this video, and I want to try to get as much stuff on this video as possible. Okay, so let's go through this one here. I'm going to make my table of theta and r, and I know that this is not going to be a rows, so I'm just going to use my 0, pi over, in this case it's a sine, so I'm going to use pi over 6, and then I'm going to use pi over 2, and 5 pi over 6, and pi, and so forth. So when I plug 0 in, sine of 0 is 0, so I'm going to have 1. When I plug pi over 6, sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. So I have 1 plus 1, 2 times 1/2, which is 1 plus 1, which is 2. I plug in pi over 2 in. Sine of pi over 2 is 1, so that's going to give me 3. 5 pi over 6 here is going to give me negative 1/2, which is going to give me negative 1. 1 plus negative 1 is 0. When I plug pi in, I'm going to get sine of pi is 0, which is going to be back to 1. And you'll notice that as I plug in more values for r and theta around the circle, the next one being 7 pi over 6, I'm going to plug 7 pi over 6 into sine, and I'm going to get sine of 7 pi over 6, which is negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times 2 is negative 1. I'm going to end up with 0 again. And then the next one will be 3 pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2, the sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, plus 1 is negative 1. I'm going to have 11 pi over 6, which is going to be negative 1/2 again. So we're going to end up with 0 again. And then 2 pi is going to give me 1. So let's go and graph this thing. We're going to have 0, 1. So 0, 1 is going to be here. 0 degrees, 1 radian, or 1 radius. Pi over 6. So pi over 6 is right here. And I'm going to go out 2, like that. Pi over 2 is here. I'm going to go out 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to connect these. 5 pi over 6 is right here. And 5 pi over 6 is 0. I changed 5 pi over 6 to 2 here. I was incorrect. So 5 pi over 6 is 2, which goes here. Pi is 1, which is here. Connect that. And then 7 pi over 6, right here, is 0. So I'm going to come back to 0. And 3 pi over 2 is negative 1, so that's there. And I can see that this is going to be a limacon with an inner loop in there. Okay, that's the end of this video. I ran out of time. I will do number 3 on the next video. Thanks.